guys, so today we are trying out a new tire. You can see I've already been running it a little bit. These are, I don't know if you can make it out there, JConcepts, one of my favorite tread tire. These are the JConcepts Tusk, and these are the 1.9 wheel variety in the greens. They are supposedly 3.93 or 3.94 tall. The problem that you get into with these tires is mounted to different wheels, you'll end up with your tires a little bit taller or maybe even a little bit shorter depending on the width of the ring and the wheel that you're putting it on. As well as these tire manufacturers, a lot of times, do not get the tire measurements as they say that they are. So, one thing that I have learned, that you got to do some research, because sometimes you'll buy a tire, it'll be taller, and it might not fit retrospect, from what you thought would fit. Another thing is you got to take everything in consideration. After they're mounted, sometimes they get shorter, sometimes they get taller. All the wheel options that you're going to consider putting them on, blah, 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 because all that makes a difference and can change your tire height. Not just because the manufacturer stuff. So we're going to run these out here. These are on my Marlin, which I've got the suspension good and set up with right there. See how she just went up right there. It's got about 4 inches of travel in the back, and then the front she's got, a good bit too. That's with the battery weight in it. It'll squish way up there without lifting that's pretty good. That's stock RC 4-wheel drive leaves that I've just worked and broken in and massaged to where they need to be. But we're going to run it here on the course. There's one spot right here in particular that I had a set of BF Goodrich that are a little taller than this and an RC 4-wheel drive that were able to struggle to get that line. This truck seems to pull this line pretty effortlessly, and that's a hard spot even for our performance link trucks that we have. So this thing impressed me a good bit, how it worked. I wish I'd have went ahead and got the 4.19s for this, and I wish I'd have went ahead and got the 4.19s in these, because they're just a smidgen taller, and it would have gave me just a little more pumpkin clearance on my axles. I like the way these look on here. They're not the scaleless to the tread pattern, but they still have kind of a mud tire look, aggressive off-road tire look. So I'll probably get a set of these in a 419, and then if I have to, I'll flare my fender wells out, and I'll do a video on flaring the fender wells out, to flare your fender wells to give it more clearance. But I got to be careful back here, because I have a repair that I did. So this is going to be a real nightmare on this back part where I broke it to flare the fender. I may end up ordering a bed for it, because I'm afraid when I flare this, it's just going to bust out, because this is all epoxied up inside, where I busted that bedside. I actually caved the bedside in. I popped it back out. I did a heat pull on it, like guys do on bumpers on cars, and popped that back out, and then epoxied up inside here to fill this, between the bed. But and I hate cutting fender wells. I just think it looks hideous when you cut the fender wells. I'd rather flare these out, and then that way a wider tire will go tucked up inside your fender well. A lot of guys do that with the Marlin. They flare the fender wells out. So either that, or I'll work on getting some kind of making fender flares, or coming up with an idea for a fender flare and trim them. I'm not real sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but it still needs a little bit. It needs a 4.19 tire on it if you're going to try to trail with guys with a bigger tire. I'm afraid these are going to fall a little short, because they are more of a scaler-ish tire. But we're going to set it down here and do some video for you, and show the line pull up here. I'll do a voice overview in the video because the dog will be barking and carrying on, and that's annoying. But it's raining on and off today, and I'm not putting her out in the yard on her tie out because, you know, if it goes to raining and stuff. So anyhow, let's get to it. There we go. I'm going to move the camera. Now, how steep that is. I had to use the winch, but these rocks are loose and they kept pulling off, so that's why I used the winch on it. But that's basically our angle where we're at. So there's looking flat at the board. There's the truck. I mean, I think this is like around 80. I don't know. My comp trucks can't get up this now. Since I put the rocks on the board because it bowed the board down. So I made us winch points here on the board, you guys can see, and I just hooked my winch up there. But that little Enjoyer winch works pretty good too. So that's it, guys. It's starting to rain some more. We're gonna call it. These tires work pretty good. So the dungeon course ain't leaf spring friendly for small tires more than leaf spring. You know what I mean? It's not really small tire friendly. These are all big rock. But it started raining, so I quit filming up there and just came down here for the cover of the tree. So from the RC Dungeon, peace.